And no one, I mean no one, is paying to see Angel Reese attempt to play basketball. Hell, not even Mama Reese is paying to watch this live.
The numbers tell a clear story that the WNBA cannot ignore. When Caitlin Clark sustained a left quad strain on May 25, 2025, the league felt the impact instantly, with significant economic repercussions. As Clark faces a minimum 2-week absence, the stark difference between her star power and the rest of the league has become undeniable. Players like Angel Reese and teams such as the struggling Chicago Sky are now forced to confront an uncomfortable reality. In professional women's basketball, individual star power drives engagement and revenue. Without Clark, the league's appeal diminishes, highlighting the urgent need to build a more balanced and sustainable league beyond its brightest stars.
You can't tell me that the Caitlin Clark effect isn't real. You knew when news broke yesterday that Caitlin Clark was going to be out for a few weeks, that ticket prices were going to go down, but I never expected them to go down 71% for the rivalry game.
When news of Clark's injury broke, the WNBA's carefully built economic momentum collapsed instantly. Ticket prices for Indiana Fever games dropped dramatically, by 42%, from an average of $137.00 to just $80.00 overnight. This wasn't a slow decline or a normal market adjustment. It was a clear, immediate acknowledgement from fans and the marketplace that without Clark, the product no longer held the same value. The stark drop highlights how central her presence is to the league's financial health and how fragile the league's current model is when its biggest star is sidelined.
Indiana Fever ticket prices to games over the next 2 weeks have dropped 42% since Caitlin Clark's injury announcement. An average ticket price of $137 all the way down to $80. People are selling their tickets, definitely can't get face value, so what do? They just continue to lower and lower and lower and lower.
The Chicago Sky, who had shifted their June 7 game against the Fever from the 10,387-seat Wintrust Arena to the larger 21,000-seat United Center to capitalize on Clark's expected draw, saw their ticket prices plummet. The minimum entry fee for what was meant to be a marquee matchup fell from $86.00 to just $25.00 once Clark's absence was announced. For a team that had committed heavily to upgrading to a bigger venue, the financial impact was swift and harsh. The sudden decline in ticket revenue underscored how heavily the league's economic stability relies on Clark's star power and the risks of overdependence.
Sky relocated the game to the United Center, the home of the Chicago Bulls and the largest arena in the NBA, expecting a marquee matchup between Clark and Sky forward Angel Reese. Now here's where it gets sweet, all right? It gets real interesting right here. However, uncertainty looms as ticket prices for the game have plummeted dramatically following Clark's injury announcement. Oh my goodness. Since it became likely she will miss the June 7 game, ticket prices have dropped a staggering 71%. Oh my goodness. Following from an entry price of $86 to just $25 according to Tick.
This economic decline reveals a harsh reality many in the WNBA have been reluctant to face. Success is unevenly distributed among its stars. While players like Angel Reese attract attention and accolades, data shows a stark hierarchy in drawing power, with Brittany Clark occupying a league of her own. TV viewership numbers underline her exceptional influence. According to Fox Sports, games featuring Clark and the Indiana Fever averaged 1.178 million viewers, nearly tripling the 394,000 viewers for other WNBA games. This isn't a small gap, but a seismic shift in the league's television appeal. Clark's presence significantly boosts the league's visibility and marketability, illustrating how vital she is to its financial and cultural success. Her star power has the potential to elevate the entire league, but it also exposes the fragile economic balance that relies heavily on a select few players.
I told you earlier, these WNBA franchises that moved games like the Chicago Sky to the United Arena, you're screwed. You're done. You're cooked. Nobody is going to show up to this thing. Chicago Sky can't sell out their own 9,000-something seat arena like it is. They couldn't when they were kind of decent. They're a dumpster fire now. And now that Caitlin Clark is injured, the ticket prices for the Fever and Sky game just plummeted to Hades.
If you are enjoying, please subscribe. The May 17th, 2025 game between the Fever and Chicago Sky showcased Caitlin Clark's immense impact on the league's viewership. With 2.7 million viewers, it set a new record for the most watched WNBA regular season game in 25 years. The broadcast peaked at 3.1 million viewers, demonstrating Clark's ability to attract casual fans who typically aren't drawn to women's basketball. This single game surpassed the viewership of many playoff series from previous seasons, highlighting her extraordinary influence on the league's television ratings. When examining the broader data, the pattern becomes even more striking. During the 2024 season, 21 out of 24 WNBA broadcasts that drew at least 1 million viewers featured Caitlin Clark. This means nearly 90% of the league's most watched games depended heavily on her star power. Additionally, the 3 games with over 20,000 fans in attendance all involved the Indiana Fever, further emphasizing Clark's role as the league's primary attraction. Her presence not only boosts TV ratings, but also drives attendance and engagement, underscoring her significance as a transformative figure in women's professional basketball.
We know that wherever she goes, she's selling out arenas. The ticket prices skyrocket. Like, even trying to get tickets to Carver Hawkeye Arena when they played the Brazilian national team at her old school was just insane prices. If she's going on the road, wherever she's going, ticket sales jumped by 140%. Average is $312.
While the broader WNBA faces challenges without Clark's presence, no team exemplifies the harsh reality of star power quite like the Chicago Sky. Starting the 2025 season at 0-4, the Sky find themselves in a difficult position, winless and struggling to find their footing on the court. Meanwhile, their supposed rival continues to dominate headlines, even amid injuries, keeping the spotlight firmly on Clark's influence. Angel Reese, long positioned as Clark's primary competitor since their college days, now faces the tough task of remaining relevant for a team that has yet to establish its identity this season. The Sky's poor start marks a significant drop from expectations, and their inability to secure wins has led to waning interest from fans and media alike. This decline is further reflected in ticket prices. While games at the United Center against Indiana, where Clark's presence was anticipated, commanded premium prices, many of the Sky's regular matches at Wintrust Arena are now available for as little as $17.00. This pricing shift mirrors the market's honest assessment of the team's current entertainment value and drawing power without its marquee star. The disparity underscores how crucial Clark remains to the league's popularity and the Sky's prospects.
The WNBA will be reliant on their other stars to maintain the interest of the mainstream. With Angel Reese being the only player with mainstream name recognition, most of the pressure it is going to be on her to perform. And we have plenty of evidence that proves Angel Reese is not qualified to.
The Sky's struggles go beyond just their win-loss record. Their 0-4 start reflects a broader challenge in defining their team identity and attracting attention without the spotlight that Clark's presence once brought. Without the guaranteed media coverage and fan interest generated by facing Clark, the Sky must depend solely on their on-court performance to draw engagement. Early indicators suggest that their current product isn't compelling enough to sustain the heightened interest the franchise experienced during key rivalry moments. A comprehensive economic analysis revealed that Caitlin Clark accounted for an impressive 26.5% of all WNBA economic activity during her rookie season. Projections for 2025 estimate Clark could generate around $875 million, 0 cents in economic impact for the league, with potential to surpass $1 billion, 0 cents. These figures are grounded in measurable increases in attendance, merchandise sales, TV ratings, and broader economic activity in cities hosting her team, underscoring her vital role in driving league growth and revenue.
Caitlin Clark could be projected to be a $1 billion revenue maker for the WNBA this year. Now, obviously, the WNBA won't see that money, won't see most of that money, and it's not just in the WNBA, but it's all of her sponsorships, it's all of her appearances, it's all that stuff. But according to the projections, we're looking at $875 million could easily eclipse $1 billion on her economic impact. Caitlin Clark entering the league last year was responsible for 26.5% of all of their economic activity. So revenue from merchandise, which again, with the CBA as it is currently, she doesn't see a dime of any of that. TV, and then ticket sales, obviously, which again, they don't get anything.
The immediate market reaction to Clark's injury serves as a real-time validation of this analysis. When ticket prices drop by 42% within hours of an injury announcement, it demonstrates that Clark's value isn't just academic, it's tangible and quantifiable. The WNBA has built a significant portion of its current economic foundation on a single player's appeal, creating both unprecedented opportunity and considerable risk. This billion-dollar impact extends beyond simple game attendance. Clark's presence has driven merchandise sales increases of over 500% league-wide, according to PANICS reports. Dick's Sporting Goods experienced a 233% jump in WNBA sales from 2023 to 2024, largely attributed to Clark's popularity. These numbers represent fundamental shifts in consumer behavior and spending patterns, not temporary bumps that might be expected from a novelty effect.
People might be saying, oh, well, the teams aren't really going to suffer. They already sold the tickets. No. You don't understand. If the Chicago Sky moved into the United Center, and let's say resale-wise, they sold all 19,000, well, when only 9,000 to 10,000 show up, they're losing merchandise sales, they're losing food sales, they're losing beverage sales. They're losing big. They took a big gamble to get into that arena, and they're losing big because it's not going to be full, and those people aren't going to be buying things.
The current situation presents the WNBA with a stark warning about the fragility of its newfound success. Clark's injury has exposed the league's dependence on a single player in ways that should concern executives, team owners, and players alike. The immediate drop in interest, ticket prices, and anticipated viewership demonstrates that the WNBA's growth, while real and substantial, remains concentrated rather than broadly distributed. This concentration of star power isn't necessarily problematic in itself. Many successful sports leagues have featured transcendent players who drive disproportionate interest. However, the WNBA's current situation is particularly precarious because Clark is still early in her professional career and has already experienced her first significant injury. The league's inability to maintain engagement levels without her presence suggests that efforts to develop and promote other stars have not yet reached the level necessary to sustain the current momentum. The pattern established during Clark's college career should have provided additional warning signs for league officials. When Clark was eliminated from the 2024 WNBA playoffs, viewership for subsequent games dropped significantly, even though those games featured other accomplished players and compelling storylines. The semifinal matchup between the Las Vegas Aces and New York Liberty drew 929,000 viewers, which, while respectable, represented a substantial decline from the 1.8 million viewers who watched Clark's playoff debut.
The ticket prices. This does not shock me at all. What did I say earlier? The WNBA was about to F around and find out, and these rival teams were going to be in a lot of trouble. Well, they're finding out. Kathy Engelbert, WNBA, you better start putting some respect on Fever fans' names, Caitlin Clark's name. Otherwise, this league, we got to remember, they lost $40 million still last year. All right? They're getting a new media rights deal. That thing won't be worth shit. If Caitlin Clark was to either get really injured and couldn't play or decided to just say, I'm not going to play here anymore, I'm going overseas.
Clark's absence extends beyond the Indiana Fever and her direct opponents. It impacts the entire WNBA ecosystem. Television networks have tailored their programming schedules around Clark's star power, and her injury forces a reassessment of expectations and promotional strategies. Merchandise partners who have heavily invested in WNBA products now face a marketplace where their primary driver of sales is temporarily sidelined. For other league players, Clark's injury presents both an opportunity and a challenge. While it opens the door for emerging stars to step into the spotlight and showcase their own appeal, the immediate decline in overall interest suggests that many casual fans drawn by Clark may lose engagement without her presence. This situation underscores the critical importance of player health and injury prevention in a league where individual stars significantly influence economic outcomes. The WNBA's medical teams, training protocols, and game management strategies become even more vital as the availability of key players directly impacts league-wide revenues, TV ratings, and fan engagement. Ensuring the health and safety of star players is now more essential than ever to sustain growth and maintain the league's momentum.
The jerseys, the number 22, the various styles, whether it's a T-shirt with 22, whether it's an Iowa jersey, whether it's a Fever jersey, a throwback, whatever. The amount of people in yellow 22 apparel is stunning. It is more than Peyton Manning ever had leading the Colts to a Super Bowl. It's more than Reggie, more than anybody I've ever seen. I've never seen anything like it. But now she's not going to play. So I'm curious, are we going to have sellout crowds? Are the Pacers going to draw the attention nationally when they play the Sky or the Liberty or the Sun or whoever?
As Clark works toward her potential return, the WNBA faces critical questions about its future trajectory. The league's growth strategy must evaluate whether it is sustainable to depend so heavily on the prominence of individual stars, or if efforts should shift toward cultivating a more diverse and widespread appeal across multiple players and teams. This situation also prompts reflection on competitive balance and talent distribution. Indiana Fever's ability to draft Clark and build their franchise around her has granted them a notable advantage that extends beyond mere basketball performance, influencing league-wide attention and marketability. Other teams now need to explore how to develop their own standout players and craft captivating narratives that can engage fans amidst a competitive entertainment landscape. For teams like the Chicago Sky and players such as Angel Reese, the challenge is clear. They must find ways to generate interest and excitement independently of Clark's influence. This involves focusing on team success, fostering compelling chemistry, and creating unique stories that resonate with fans, rather than relying solely on rivalry-driven hype that hinges on Clark's presence. Building a more balanced and resilient league will require strategic investments in player development, marketing, and storytelling that can sustain engagement regardless of individual star availability.
Reese and the WNBA have been using race to bring awareness to an incredibly bad product. Once you remove Caitlin Clark from the equation, there's no reason for people to watch this league, which is why people haven't been watching Angel Reese throughout her career.
The harsh reality exposed by Clark's injury is that the WNBA's recent growth, though significant and genuine, remains fragile and heavily reliant on a single star. The league has successfully drawn new fans, boosted revenue, and raised its profile, but these achievements are largely anchored to Clark's presence and performance. This doesn't undermine the talent or entertainment value of other players or the league as a whole. Instead, it underscores the unique role Clark plays in shaping the sport's current landscape and highlights the responsibility she and the league share to safeguard and leverage this asset. Ensuring sustainability will require diversifying stars and building a broader foundation for continued growth beyond one individual's influence.
Without the NBA giving their yearly donation, this league would have folded years ago. And that's the part that bothers me about the organization, the owners, the players. This inflated ego, thinking, oh, we built this. You didn't build nothing. You're just getting by the NBA charity check. And with this mentality, they have these inflated egos and they're stuck in their ways. They think their way is the right way. This is going to be successful and failed for decades. Finally, a player that's worth paying the money for, Caitlin Clark, comes along. What do, WNBA? You beat her up. You treat her like crap. You treat her like she's dog.
The coming weeks will be a vital test of the WNBA's support system and the durability of its recent surge in popularity. If viewership and attendance remain steady during Clark's absence, it will suggest that the league has successfully expanded its fan base beyond just her star power, converting casual viewers into dedicated supporters. However, if numbers drop significantly, it will highlight how much the league's growth still depends on its brightest talent. Caitlin Clark's influence on women's professional basketball goes far beyond her on-court achievements. She has become a driving force behind the league's economic momentum. Her temporary absence underscores both the opportunities to diversify the league's appeal and the vulnerabilities of over-reliance on a single superstar. This period will reveal whether the WNBA can sustain its momentum independently or if it remains tethered to Clark's presence. If you enjoyed leaving a like and subscribing, more videos are on the screen now.